Hey there, it's Bobby Legs, and welcome to another episode of Bobby Legs Loves Watches. And today I will be reviewing the Islander ISL 36. All right, let's get to it. Now we have here another offering by Mark over at Long Island Watch. This is the ISL 36, which came out simultaneously a few weeks back with the ISL 38, 39. The big difference being that this 36 has a smooth bezel, where the 38 and 39 came out with fluted bezels, and they also were different colors. The 38 was a blue, and the 39 was kind of this grayish sunburst kind of very, very, very beautiful color gray for sure. But like I said, the main difference here is that this has a smooth bezel. So let's get right into the specs. We have a 38 millimeter case diameter, 44.5 millimeter lug to lug, 11 millimeter case thickness. You have this very, it feels flat, but it might be slightly domed sapphire crystal with AR coating, 20 millimeter lug with stainless steel case with well done polished sides and brushed top. You do have this Jubilee style bracelet that starts off at 20 and tapers down nicely to 16 millimeters. The links on this are brushed at the ends and they're polished in the middle. These two links here in the middle do articulate independent of each other, but you know, when you put in the screw, and it's just screw-in links here, they all move uniformly. They come resting down on this small clasp, which I think is, in my opinion, perfectly sized. You have a middle clasp here, double push-down deployment, fold over here, very nicely done. It is brushed, as you can tell. The inside of the bracelet is very, very smooth to the touch. I don't have much hair on my bracelet. I'm out on my wrist. So, and I was wearing this all day, so it wasn't pulling or tugging at any hairs. I don't think it'll be an issue if you do have a hairy wrist, but let's end that right there. So you'll have to determine that yourself. We have an exhibition case back here featuring the Miyota 9015 movement, which is powering this watch. 24 joule, 28,800 beats per hour, 42 hour power reserve. This is a 100-meter water resistant watch. It's a screw down crown. You have this nice polish, but then you have the signed Long Island symbol there. Nicely knurled. You can get a good grip on it. Unscrew it and get a nice little pop. That first position is going to wind. That second position is going to change the date. And of course, the third position will change the time. Let's do that right now. Screw that back in, and you have your 100-meter water resistance. The dial is matte black, and you have these baton style hour indices. With the exception of the 12 o'clock, you have a double baton, and at the 3 o'clock, it's a cutoff baton with the date window there. The symbol of the Long Island watch applied there. It's nicely done. It's not stamped, which is pretty cool, or printed, and automatic is over the 6 o'clock position. The stick hands for the hour and minute, very reminiscent of a Rolex Datejust, of course, and a needle-like for the seconds hand. The lume is actually pretty decent here. You have the lume on these hour indices and the hands, Super Luminova. Let's get a weight check here. Let me turn on the scale. Now I measured the third ISL 38 and 39 around 116 grams. Let's see here. Got 112 grams, give or take, depending on how the scale feels today, of course. Let's do this on wrist. Now I have a 6 3/4 inch wrist, and this watch fits perfectly on my wrist. Let me pull back the sleeve. As you can see here, the 38 millimeter case diameter is really a nice size on wrist. That smooth bezel really accentuates or surrounds the dial very, very nicely with that polished bezel. and it makes it look pretty classy. 45 millimeter lug to lug, so just a really good spot. 11 millimeters, sits nicely on my wrist. Very, very comfortable. I got a lot of people reaching out when I did the 38 because they liked the watch. They were just not necessarily into the fluted bezel. I like the fluted bezel, but some people felt it was like a little too blingy for them and that they preferred the smooth out bezel. That's why I brought it in here for review. The smooth out bezel definitely gives it a little bit, it's less loud, if for lack of a better word there, than the 38 or 39. Maybe a little bit more versatile because it's, it's definitely sportier. But you definitely use this as a dress piece. But the Datejust, where this is kind of like taking cues from, is really a sports watch, but can be passed off obviously as a dress watch, and hence the great versatility of the Datejust and the great versatility of this watch. Now, a lot of people are comparing this because of where it's priced at to the SARB 033, and I believe that that's a pretty fair comparison. The SARB 033, and I'll throw in an image over here. I'll run down the specs, almost spot on dimensions wise. 38 millimeter case diameter on that, 45 millimeter lug to lug, 11 millimeter case thickness, 20 millimeter lug width. It did come on a oyster style bracelet, and the clasp was a little bit different. It didn't have the fold over. It was the double push button deployment. I like the bracelet and the clasp, although I would say that the clasp wasn't perfect. And so like if you have a SARB 033, this part right here, there was more of a gap, and it was actually more jingly. You know what I mean? So that really didn't bother me, but I did like the overall look at it. I just wished it if hugged the bracelet a little bit more, just like this watch here. So that was my only real gripe with the SARB 033. I owned it a couple times over, and every time I sell it, I always regret selling it. That one was powered by the 6R15 movement, which was a 23 joule, 21,600 beats per hour. So slightly slower movement, but it did offer a 50-hour power reserve. So you're looking about an 8-hour power reserve difference. I don't know. To me, that's not a big difference. I feel like, I wear my watches. I don't mind winding my watches if they stop. So although power reserve and having a longer power reserve is nice, it's not really a deal breaker for me. The SARB also had 100 meter water resistance, no screw down crown. So a little bit more of a safe feeling here with the ISL 36. Now, if you feel like you've missed out on the SARB, right? Because it's discontinued. I checked some sale listings on eBay last year. You saw a few that were sold in the high 200s, low 300s, but they were, definitely pre-worn. And kind of, I wouldn't say rough, but they definitely had some marks on them. And then if you look at some that may have sold at the beginning of this year, a little bit towards the end of last year, that were in better shape, you're looking at somewhere in the high 300s, mostly in the 400s, right? That some of these watches have sold, and some maybe a little bit more than that. And if you're looking for active listings, you're not going to really find too many under 500. I think there was one for like 375, and who knows, the condition of that and how long that's going to last. But most of them are over 500. Now, granted, those are the listings. You don't know what things actually sold for, or actually you do, but you don't know how it's trending. But it feels like it's trending upwards. If you don't want to play that game with eBay and dealing with sellers and not really 100% knowing what you're getting, the ISL 36 may be a safe alternative, safe bet. Definitely an affordable alternative comparing the prices, because I think the watches are very, very similar. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think below in the comments. And I'd love to hear what you have to say about this watch and the comparison with the SARB 033. And if you feel like it is an affordable alternative these days to that SARB. And I'll see you guys in the next video.